In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What is the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. It's Tuesday night, 9 p.m., and we're here talking about the Carolina Panthers as usual. We've been doing it for 7 years straight. This week's show, Rule 1, Cam's still the story, and Olsen is the Seahawk. I'm here to chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions with my homeboys. Cody Lashley in the house. How you doing, my friend? The Bat Daddy in the house. Greg had a day off yesterday in the mail business. Must have been smoking busy today. You have a President's Day tree? They can't hear you. They can't hear anyone. Well, dang. Now you hear? Yay.
Video. I heard you say president.
Let's see if this works.
Can only hear
All right.
Tony.
Maybe they can hear you now. Can you hear me now? Oh, you know what? I know why. Because remember when I got froze out of that video call and it couldn't hear my sound?
Yeah.
I had to open a new Hangout window, and it's in a different browser, which then goes through a different channel on Voicemater. All right, so here, can we do this? Is Cody? I've recorded what you've said, but hey, say hello to people.
Yeah, we'll do it again, man. I love when news breaks on Tuesday. It always seems to happen that way. And yes, we have the most lit fans in the YouTube with us right now. Michael Jones, Tin Tizzy, Tommy Doc Martin, Brad Wise, Underground West, Carl D already says he's got some smoke for me in the cat call. So I'm all about it. Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it. Once again, let's roll.
Stat Daddy, what is a President's Day tree?
It was a very poor attempt at a joke that I'm not going to repeat again because it didn't land, obviously. But what's up, man? Glad to be here Tuesday night. Best night of the week for me, or something to look forward to on Tuesday at least. Talk to the chat room, hang out with you guys, talk some Panthers news.
What are you guys talking about on? What are you guys talking about on the Super Civil Servants podcast right now?
Last week we talked about some Clone Wars coming up. We talked about the Birds of Prey reactions, and then honestly, man, I can't even remember what the other thing we talked about was. We had three topics this week. Oh, just movie news.
The reason I ask is because I popped open my podcast app this week, and Wolverine Season 2 was free now, finally, because I think you have to pay for it on Stitcher Premium when it first comes out. But right now, Wolverine Season 2 as a podcast is available. And if you haven't listened to Season 1, it's like really cool, man. It's like bringing all of your superhero mumbo jumbo into the podcast world. But it's cool. I mean, a good way to start with Logan, kind of an edgy, gritty character. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've been binge listening to it. We also got CK in the house with that deep, sexy voice. How you doing, my friend?
Living the dream.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
You know, having a good one, man. Just finally can actually join up with you guys when it starts, and you guys can see my luscious hair, I guess you could say, or lack
It's
thereof.
beaming. It's beaming.
You know, yeah, exactly. You know, it's an interesting, you know, obviously I've had a lot of frustration today and, you know, with Twitter and obviously now the news with Greg Olsen signing with another team, which we'll get into. But man, it's good to be able to kind of wrap the night up with you boys and everybody in the chat room and, you know, those listening over the week. I appreciate all you guys.
All right, guys, tonight's show is Rule 1. Cam is still the story, and Olsen is a Seahawk. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. It's episode 3 of the 2020 season. We've been doing this for 7 years. This will be our 8th full season. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Shout out all those people that listen on the podcast. Call into the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. We'll be tonight talking about, of course, Cam Newton. When have we not talked about or headlined the show with Cam Newton in the last 7 seasons? Never. As long as he's in a Carolina Panther jersey, he will be the story, and he may even be the story for a couple of months when he's not a Carolina Panther. Also, Greg Olsen today signed with the Seattle Seahawks, and Josh Norman was released by the Redskins. We'll be talking about that, maybe even a little Drew Brees news to come. So you guys stick around, smash the thumbs up button, and I do want to put in a little plug tonight. Tonight's show is brought by Simply Safe. Every night, local police departments across America receive hundreds of calls for burglar alarms. The vast majority of the time, they have no idea whether the alarm is real. Is there really a crime going on or not? All the company can tell them is a motion sensor went off. Simply Safe home security is different. If you are like me and you are one of those guys who is hypersensitive to every single sound and is tired of having to sleep with a knife under your bed or a shotgun in your closet, in my case, Simply Safe is the solution. If there's a break-in, Simply Safe uses real video evidence to give a police eyewitness account of the crime. That means police dispatch 350% faster. You get comprehensive protection for your entire home, outdoor cameras, doorbell alerts, entry, motion, the whole deal. And it even has fire alarms, water damage, carbon monoxide warnings. It's 24/7 monitoring, live security professionals, and it's only 50 cents a day, no contracts. Visit simplysafe.com/overtime. That's simplysafe.com/overtime. You'll get a free shipping and 60-day free risk trial. Don't forget, simplysafe.com/overtime. Woo! How do those radio guys do that mess all the time? I don't know. All right, guys.
Ad-libbing, from what I recall. You know, I like listening to those, and they really kind of throw in their own thing sometimes.
Usually they do give you a little, sometimes they will say, take this script and make it yours, and sometimes they just give you a script. But actually, I would say the Simply Safe does sound kind of cool because it's just like setting up Alexa, it sounds like.
So here, I did buy it.
You bought it? Did you use /.com/overtime? Return it because there's a 60-day risk-free trial and go back and buy it again.
I bought it around the Christmas time, so this was before the promo code came out. But I did buy it. I haven't got the internet set up yet, so I'll be more than happy to tell you guys. Hopefully, next Tuesday, once I'm hoping to have internet up and going. I know I'm on the internet now, but that's my phone's hotspot. And I'll let you guys know for sure. You know, personal account, and let you know if it's worth it. Which I believe it is.
Josh from Mass says no more Blue Chew ads. Man, I'm a walking Blue Chew ad. Bro. All right, guys, Cam Newton has continued the story, but I figured tonight, instead of us just kind of going through and talking about everything, we'll just jump into the cat calls, see what they want to talk about, and then we'll jump into Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, and all those other topics. So let's go ahead and fire
I think these guys would prefer to do that. I don't think they want to listen to our sultry voices. So
yeah,
I think they just want to
listen to your sultry voice, not Cody and I's nasally loogie voices.
Hey. Watch it.
All right, let's see if this works.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his notebook? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, fella? Kyle from VA. Man, I'll be honest, man. The off season really just started, dude, and I'm already worn out talking about the Cam situation, man. They have played this whole situation all damn year, and they're gonna continue playing it and continue playing it. And it's, man, I'm honestly exhausted of hearing it, dude. Like, I don't want Cam to go. I really don't. But until somebody makes a decision, man, I'm not even going to pay it attention no more. Because every day is a new story out. Every day is the Panthers think he'll be healthy. And then another story comes out. Well, Cam will be traded. He's not healthy. It's like, man, I'm just tired of hearing it. It's in the same stories literally since the first article broke way back when. It feels like it's been damn 2 years this season.
And it's only been like
exhausted, man. This all
4 months.
You know, I have a lot to say on this.
Yeah, I like this call a lot.
The whole Cam situation is wearing me out, man. David Tepper. I know he can't really say much right now with Cam being hurt, but I think he could have handled it better than the comments he said. I think David Newton kind of pissed him off a little bit, and he bit back with that. You tell me if he's healthy, and then we can talk. I think that was a little snap back at David Newton, which I can't blame David Tepper for. That dude's a fucking moron. And man, I'm gonna just ride this thing out. I don't even know what else to say, but there really ain't nothing else, man. We just got to see when Cam gets back, healthy. Hopefully he stays. I mean, that's it. This off season has been fucking brutal, man. Anyway, guys, can't wait for the show. I'll be catching it in the morning when I get off work. Keep pounding.
All right, thanks, Cal from VA right there, expressing the fatigue when it comes to the Cam Newton situation. Let's turn the mic over to CK because you were talking about this today. Cam Newton was the story, is the story, will always be the story till he's not here in Carolina. But it is fatiguing.
So it is, but I mean, if there's something that, and I know that Cody may have a differing opinion on this, but my thought process in this, right? There has been not a single article stating that the Panthers there's a source in the organization, be it anonymous, be it somebody who's aware of the situation, nothing. Everything, like if you go and you search Cam Newton and you look at news, Cam Newton trade rumors. Matt Rhule, Panthers likely to shop amid rebuild. Trade rumors is the name of that article, just so you know. Rumors, period. And then you go up and you look at Panthers seem poised to try to trade Cam Newton. Everything is opinion based. They're looking at the situation and they're putting their own spin on things. Now, here's where you look at things. If you look at Jordan Rodriguez, tweets and her articles, she will say, source within the organization has informed me that Cam Newton is set to, pass his physical.
Actually, it says a source with knowledge of the situation.
Exactly.
Right? Her wording.
Exactly.
Was her wording.
And I've looked and I've been on the lookout, and feel free to DM me or at me or whatever and let me know where I'm wrong on this. But I have yet to find one person who has ever cited, even Ian Rappaport. It is my understanding that there is a possibility that they will do this or that. Okay. So it's your understanding based on what you're reading in the cards, right? You've thrown the tea leaves out and you're basically making a decision. You're reading palms at this point.
Is it possible that were her source?
You
Cody is the source. It's Cody Lashney.
It might be, dude.
But I'll say this: until somebody comes out and actually, and I think multiple people feel this way, until you hear either a statement of a matter of fact from the organization or in the only matter-of-fact statement we've heard from the organization is that he is poised to pass his physical in March and that they will probably limit him in the spring. That seems like to me a pretty, I mean, now granted, as we've talked about trying to build value in a trade, that seems like there's a pretty committal process to what they're trying to do with Cam Newton, and that is he's going to be there through the spring. That's what that sounds like to me. But
to kind of play devil's advocate off of that, I kind of think the for sale sign is in the front yard. And whoever is interested in buying, we're interested
for
in
sale by owner.
For sale by owner. That's kind of what I think. I wanted to highlight my man Adam Sanders in the chat room. He says Tepper handled it fine. He's making our expectations realistic, and people just don't like to face the reality that we might not have Cam Newton anymore. He goes on to say he's only answering these questions to the best of his abilities. He wants to make sure Cam can play before he commits. And again, I'll echo the same point. The reason why we're all so frustrated by this is because there is so much uncertainty. There is just as much of a case to be made for what CK just said as there is to be for what I just said. That Cam Newton, they're wanting everyone to know, hey, Cam Newton is going to be healthy in March. That's good for y'all. I'm also of the mindset that as a general manager or owner or whatever, you have to do your due diligence. Like, I would at least want to know what the Chargers or the Bears or some other team would be willing to give up for Cam Newton. Now, that does not mean that you want to move on from Cam Newton, but I think if there's information out there to be had, it behooves the Panthers to have that information. I don't know, man. I think the uncertainty is what it really kind of weighs on people. It's that no one knows, man. There's a very real possibility that he will be the quarterback next year, and there's also a very real one that he won't. And that's driving everyone up a wall.
But the part of this that I think, whether or not they've made a decision or not, whether they know what they're going to do, I think anybody can call any team and offer anything, right? So they're always going to be hearing offers, right? No matter what. It could be,
it's not like, do you guys really think, have you ever seen Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's not like, get me on the phone with this, call this other fucker up with this, let's do this, trip, chop. No, it ain't like
cartoon.
that.
Yeah, it's a cartoon for sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
and
I'll just say this real quick. My whole thing is there at this point, the articles, if you Google his Cam Newton and you look at news, there's constantly new articles. There is no new story. There is no new development. There is nothing new about anything that has happened that is saying that there is a certainty, there is a source, there is anybody saying Cam Newton is going to be traded, or even the organization saying we're listening to offers. Granted, every organization is listening to offers on any of their players, period. But, nonetheless, Greg, you go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I'm going to kind of echo what Brad Dugan was saying in the chat room. He's about 80-20 on Cam staying, Cam going. I think he's leaning 80% that he's probably gone, 20% chance he may not. And you're echoing the sentiments that give me the thought that he might stay, or the possibility and the hope, because I want him to. But while you're making the point of there's nothing verifying all these accusations, there's also nothing denying it either.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there saying, no, this is not happening. We're doing nothing.
That's the problem.
And
that's the damn problem.
That's what I'm saying, man. That none of us know. Everyone has their best opinion, and it sucks because we all love Cam Newton, and we all want David Tepper to commit to Cam Newton, which, by the way, I also think isn't necessarily a bad business strategy because, even when it comes to a trade, you want other teams to think that the Carolina Panthers could still run with Cam Newton next year. That increases the value of what you would get for him in a trade. So, I mean, all of this is really, it's all absurd. CK is right. There is no new news.
We have been trying to read the tea leaves. We have been trying to toss the chicken bones, and we have been hanging on to every comma, and that's what we're supposed to do. Greg, go ahead and finish your point up because I want to support CK in this as well.
No, you're good. That was actually kind of my point. I'm kind of on the hill with Cody. I think that it's probably going to be gone. Jeff Hodge in the chat says you can't prove a negative. But yeah,
all right. So one of the things is that CK for weeks though has been referring to how the Panthers media hasn't been front and center with Cam Newton, right? There's zero story on the Panthers website right now. Going back the 11th, 1 week ago, when we were on the show last week, when David Tepper's comments came out, they did a story, and the title was, "It's a question of how healthy he is." So the absence, and that's what we talked about last week, I think, is that the Carolina Panthers' absence of of shutting this down more, which does, though. So on one hand, all of that evidence seems to pile and lean towards what Cody's saying, right? But then there is this looming thing that CK is saying that there's like zero. And by the way, I do want to put this out, is the story we're talking about from Jordan Rodriguez, from a source with knowledge of the situation, says he is likely to pass his physical and be cleared for some football activity in March. You know, another way of saying that is he's on schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they didn't say it. They're not saying it like that. So the absence of news is problematic. But here, though, if you look at that in a vacuum, I feel like, gosh, Cody's right, is the absence is overwhelming. But on the other hand, if you are trying to do something with Cam, you're not doing a good job of inflating his value at all, which is something you also have said, Cody, in the past. So what if this is Carolina moving on from Cam, it may be a slight bungling of the situation, to be honest.
I think the whole thing is I kind of agree with Adam Sanders. A lot of people are giving David Tepper a lot of shit for being non-committal to Cam Newton. And again, like I said, I wish that he would try and make it sound a little bit more convincing. But there's one thing that puts me over the edge that has me on the side that Cam Newton isn't going to be a Panther. And that's because I believe that there is going to be a team out there that is going to give up a reasonable amount of draft capital for Cam Newton and would also be willing to sign him to a new contract. So if both of those things, if I, well,
but not talking like this, you are not encouraging that situation by approaching it this way.
No, I'm not encouraging that.
So again, we're putting the world on Cam Newton's shoulders. Even his own fucking trade comes to this, is like his name alone is going to have to garner it. Because if you're the Carolina Panthers, you should be saying Cam Newton's on schedule. He's continuing rehab. He should be cleared in March. We'll have a better gauge of where he's at going forward. And that's what we said last week, Cody. Tepper almost gave too much information.
I mean, the other part of it is right now, I still think that there's this part of the I guess the bigger game, the bigger picture that they're playing with the draft, right? If we have this idea that maybe we don't want to keep Cam, right? Well, that makes the number 7 spot that much more valuable to a quarterback hungry team in the draft.
Yeah.
Because we may take that. So now all of a sudden the people are losing value because they're wanting to trade up to our spot or before us. And so there's this whole strategy around it saying, like, let's keep the people who are drafting after us in the dark and the people maybe drafting ahead of us in the dark.
But I think one thing you're right, continue to be right about CK with this situation, and I would say many situations throughout the NFL, is that there's no new news.
No.
On any of this. And like there are new stories. And I saw one today. Yes, or maybe it was this morning or yesterday. and it was an
Hey,
SI.
before you tell your story, this will only take a second. Shout out to Michael Jones for the love bomb. Cam ain't going nowhere. Replay the clip and check the smirk on Tepper's face. Media attention is gold, and Tepper's keeping things hyped up on purpose. Thank you, Michael Jones.
Appreciate that look.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. I saw an SI column today, and it said, Luke is confident Shaq can take over the linebacking core. And I was like, okay.
What was he going to say?
But look, is every quote, every bit of information from the source was from Luke's video a month ago. So it's a story that isn't new. And it's not a story even because it's already been told. So that's what I'm saying is that when, all right, another example. I saw Dolphins are warming to your boy from Oregon.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we know? How do they fucking know that? Like, they're not colding, they're not icing to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
It's smoke screen season, y'all. A lot of the shit that you're gonna hear and read is teams trying to put out information to get other teams to think differently. So
then Michael Jones is right.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to consider that Tepper is putting up a smoke screen, fine. But I mean, specifically, I mean, if you look at the number 2 and number 3 spot in this year's draft, they really hold a lot of power. Because there's really only 3 quarterbacks that you would really draft in this draft that you could be over 50% certain that they're going to be a franchise quarterback. It's Tua, it's Burrow, and it's Herbert. So if you want one of those guys, if you're Washington, you could take Chase Young, the best edge defender I've personally scouted since Myles Garrett, way better than Myles in my opinion. Or you say, hey, Miami really wants Tua. All I got to do is go back down to 5, and I've got a few extra first-round picks to play with. So I don't know, and that's what I was saying to someone on Twitter. Like right now, if we're not taking a quarterback, the Panthers are guaranteed to either get Andrew Thomas, Jeffrey Okudah, or Isaiah Simmons. Either of those guys would be incredible as a Panther, but if that isn't the case, we're not going to start 2020 with Kyle Allen or Will Grier under center. So if we're in the market for a quarterback, then we're absolutely one of those teams that's probably talking to Dave Gettleman in New York and Ron and his people up in Washington.
If you're Carolina and your pick is there, you don't have to trade, you don't have to do anything, and you have the option of Isaiah Simmons or Justin Herbert, what do you do?
Well, if we have to have a quarterback, then I'm taking Justin Herbert.
We don't have to have.
It's not even.
We don't have to have one. We have one.
So okay, you're saying just ride with either
Cam.
Allen or
Cam.
Saying as is right now, if the draft were today, basically.
Oh, but then no, then listen.
That's what I think we should just get Isaiah Simmons. Let's try Cam out there and let's go get this shit.
If Cam Newton is coming back, I am pounding the drum for Andrew Thomas
over Isaiah Simmons.
I mean, it's tough, dude. I mean, see, you're playing to my.
You guys are talking like I've been watching things about Isaiah Simmons, and people are talking like him as being like a Barry Sanders like player.
Yeah, he's a freak show. What Saquon Barkley was to the running back position coming out, that's what Isaiah Simmons is to the linebacker position. You cannot teach a guy who's 6'4".
Well, that's what I want.
30+ pounds to run 4.3. Are you shitting me, dude? That's sideline to sideline. And you're going to be able to play him in the slot. You're going to be able to play him at free safety. You're going to be able to put him off the edge. I mean, the dude had 7 sacks this season and is not a pass rusher. I mean, the dude.
That's who I'm starting to think is that anytime a player is clearly transcendent, you just got to get him.
Yeah. I do not disagree with you there, man.
Yeah, there's good quarterbacks at least 2 good quarterbacks every year.
Yeah,
right.
figure is that it's one thing of getting a good quarterback or getting a transcendent player. We can get a good quarterback somehow, All right, let's go on to the next cat call and see what people are saying.
Before y'all do, I'm gonna go put the kids to bed. I'll be back.
All right, good.
Panther Nation, how y'all doing? This is G Cavassier. It's been a while.
What's
It's been
up,
a while.
G?
How y'all doing? Hey, man.
My man. Good to
Like
have you
this,
back.
Man. I don't know about y'all. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about Cam is staying, Cam is leaving. I really am. Me personally, I think he's going to stay. That's my opinion, at least for the last year. That's my opinion. Now, with this damn draft, man, I'm going to be honest. I really like that quarterback from LSU. I really, really like that dude. But I don't see us giving up the farm to get him, man. I mean, I really don't, man. I mean, because I know they probably don't want a first pick from for next year or whatever. And to me, I'm like, nah. They say he might pull it down.
More than that,
you know what I'm saying? And I don't see that happening either, man. But in reality, I would love Mr. Brown out of Auburn to come to Carolina. Him and KK next to each other. Him and Kawan Short. Oh my God! If we can't get him, mark my word. Write this down. If we can get old boy Isaiah Clemens. I mean, I think it's Isaiah. I don't think his last name is Clemens. I know he played for that Clemson or whatever. If we can get this damn dude, oh my God, man. I think that dude could turn some fucking heads. I really do, man. Because he can play linebacker and he can play damn safety, man. And y'all remember, who was the last person that we drafted that could play safety and then move to linebacker? Yeah, Thomas Davis. So that could be the next Thomas Davis. I don't know personally, you know what I'm saying? But one or two of those dudes I think we should pick up. And when it comes to wide receivers, man, this is a draft that got some good wide receivers. And boys down in Alabama, there's some good wide receivers. And Cody, that wide receiver out of that Clemson, I think his last name is Higgins. Someone's talking about that dude, man. He's coming up at number 5 on the Mel Kiper draft board or whatever, but I think that dude can ball the hell out. So give me your opinion on that, because I really do think Cam is going to stay. And always remember, y'all, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Thanks, G, for that call. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
and I'm going to freshen my drink real quick.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this, but, I mean, really, it all depends on Cam Newton. I mean, if we're in the Cam Newton business for another year, then that makes everything simple because it means that we can go to a different position. And there's so many different positions of need on the Panthers right now. We need a defensive tackle. We need a corner. We need a linebacker. We need another dependable offensive lineman. And we're in a position to get any one of those things, a guaranteed starter at any one of those positions with the 7th pick. So you're talking about T. Higgins, and T. Higgins is a jump ball master. The dude has the longest arms, 6'5". He'll probably run a 4.4, so it's not. He doesn't have burner speed, but dude, T. Higgins is going to go up, get the ball. He runs excellent routes. Honestly, that would be the best receiver for the Panthers if the Panthers were going to draft, because we don't have that bigger body red zone threat jump ball receiver. So especially if Cam Newton comes back, dude, Higgins would be perfect for Cam Newton. But right now there's just so many options. And a lot of them are good options. From Brown, Tony saw I put this out. I'm a little bit higher on Javon Kinlaw than I am Brown. And it's not by much. They're both a day one starter, but I think, Brown is probably more ready to play right now. But Javon Kinlaw has a much higher ceiling, in my opinion. He's more athletic, and he's he's nasty, man. And they both are, but
is the comp to that, Cody? Is the comp to that the DJ Moore versus homeboy that went to Atlanta?
DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, like essentially a guy who is going to be best right now, consistent right then, versus a guy who could be great. With Brown and Kinlaw. So I think
that's a good comparison. Yeah, I mean, I think that Derek Brown probably has the highest floor. So Derek Brown is probably a more complete player right now. But I just think that Javon Kinlaw has the potential to be a lot more than that. So,
I mean, you have to think about upside rather than downside.
Yeah, no, you do. And listen, it's so crazy going back to this Cam Newton thing. Like, literally every option is on the board for us. Because if Cam Newton comes back, I'm not a fan of it, but there is this scenario that, hey, let's trade back. If Justin Herbert does fall to 7 and we don't need Justin Herbert, then let the Colts move up. Let whoever the hell else move up. So
you could get Kinlaw and Brown.
No, probably not that much. They're probably both top 15. So you would have to we would probably have to have 2 top 15 picks for that to happen.
Somebody's gonna slip.
Shout out Susan Dean. She's paying premium ticket prices this year, and she still decided to drop a $14.99 love bomb in the chat.
Love you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan, and I hope you're recovering well. I know she had a little procedure done last week. We've been thinking about you. I actually prayed for you this Sunday at my nephew's baptism. But
I didn't even know. No, I feel bad.
So, all right. So, Cody, you've addressed the call when it comes to well, here. Think about this. When it comes to drafting, we've got so much draft to talk about. The combine's coming up soon.
Oh, yes,
cool.
And I am pumped.
We're actually going to have real stuff to talk about in a couple of weeks because the combine will be here. So you'll see people rise and fall based on the Underwear Olympics. You'll also have free agency. One of the things that was great about Kyle from VA's call is he said, I'm fatigued by this offseason. And technically, we haven't even started.
Not even hit. Yeah, it's not even hit. Free agency starts, March 17th or something like that?
Is it that late? Gosh, I was hoping it was
in the middle of March. So,
I
mean, we still have a good while before actual movement's done. Not to bring it back, but I kind of feel like it's relevant, the whole Joe Burrow thing. Did you guys hear when he was asked if he was drafted by Cincinnati, how he would feel?
I've heard bits and pieces.
This is slightly out of context, but he basically said, if they draft me, they draft me. Not like I'd be excited to go there if they wanted me, or something like that, which I know you kind of have to keep a level head in the event that you don't go there. And then all of a sudden now you're going somewhere else and you've kind of built up Cincinnati to be the greatest place in the world. But
it certainly seemed like they have started to cool on that marriage.
I think Joe Burrow knows that obviously the Bengals are probably going to take him number 1, but he's probably holding out hope that maybe another team
will swoop in.
Slips in there. And listen, there's no guarantee that even if Joe Burrow says, dude, I'm not going to Cincinnati, the Bengals could still just draft him anyway, and they have the rights to it.
Well, Eli did it though. It's been done before. If a player is number 1, they will say, "Fuck that, trade me." They can do it.
No, I know that they can. I'm just saying, and that's a possibility. But it's also a scenario that no other team is willing to trade for the number 1 pick.
But if he is so one of the things though about the great thing about it is that usually you think trading to 1 costs so much, but it costs less when the player you want is pressuring the number 1 pick to not pick him. It might not be cheap, but it's cheaper.
But can I just dispel this notion? And this is nothing on Joe Burrow, the player. I mean, listen, we have Joe Brady here. Joe Burrow would fit into this offense like a glove, okay? What I'm saying is, if you look at the amount that we would have to give up to go and get Joe Burrow, you're talking about another situation like Cam Newton. People forget that Cam Newton was the first player drafted under the current CBA. Cam Newton is the poster child of what you should not do with a quarterback under a rookie contract. Like, you're not going to be able to build. They didn't build around Cam, didn't put the proper weapons around him. If you give up a ton to move up to number 1 for Joe Burrow, I'm telling you, that might be a first-round pick for the next 3 years that you have. That you have to give up.
I agree. And like, is he going to be Joe Montana, or is he going to be
and yeah, that's another thing. So, unlike the conversation with Tua had 2 very highly graded seasons in the SEC. Joe Burrow had 1 that was incredibly average, and then you followed it up with the best quarterback season in the history of college football. So I understand people that
he was dropping dimes all year, though, just like
he throws a beautiful football, man. There's no doubt about it. And listen, especially all the
you know how many times we've talked about early on, people gave shit about Cam's football not being catchable. Like, he didn't do his receivers any favors. It was like the Brett Favre break your fucking fingers thing.
Throwing footballs through their chest.
Yeah. I mean, and I do wonder in the NFL if you can be so finesse. And I don't know if you can, because so I was watching the XFL and I was like, oh man, that guy's kind of cool. And they go, that guy threw a laser and then he picked it up. I was like, man, these motherfuckers are slow. You know, they're not. The NFL is so much faster. So I just wonder. But you're right. I mean, like, dude, you want to talk about a catchable ball? My man be leading people just right in the bread basket. Like, it's so easy. It's like, whoa.
And by the way, that's the conversation around him and Tua. Joe Burrow and Tua do not have elite arm talent. Like, they don't have that cannon for an arm,
which you kind of need in the NFL. You kind of need it in the NFL.
You don't, man. You really don't.
Yes, you do.
Drew Brees
has never had a cannon. Matt Ryan has never had a cannon.
There's so many plays, though, that Cam has not gotten credit for of being awesome. That we have just used at, like, just routine plays, like throw it to the outside hash. There's only like 3 quarterbacks in the league that can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it is a benefit to be able to throw the ball wherever you want.
The question is, what is necessary for you to have? So not everyone is going to be able to throw a ball from one hash to the opposite hash on the other side of the field.
On a rope.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that to be successful, to be a good quarterback. And I think guys like Drew Brees and Matt Ryan, guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever you want to say about him, Kirk Cousins. I mean, you can put guys in the framework of an offense that fits them, and they don't have to have a dart thrower for an arm. They just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I am kind of with you guys, is that, like, it's kind of cute to talk about Burrow not wanting to play for the Bengals, Joe Brady coming here. But I don't know if if there were concerns about Cam Newton coming out of college, you can't just say that Burrow is going to be Hall of Famer right away. There's a risk. No. There's a risk that comes with it. Yeah.
There's a risk with everybody, which is why I feel like the risk is more evident with the drafting a new quarterback this year than it is keeping Cam. So that's something I've been saying for a long time. I think you have a higher ratio of having an elite Cam than you do of having one of these quarterbacks actually have the same resume, if not better than what Cam's had in his 8 years, 9 years in the league. So
that's where I get irritated. I get irritated, CK, because look, you want to talk about the fatigue when it comes to Cam Newton. I have been fatigued by Cam Newton his entire career because I've been a Cam Newton defender. And it's taken so much energy to dispel every false notion, all of this. And then even at this point, where people are like, hey, we've seen the best. It's time to move on. This is rebuild. If you truly think about it, every single one of these guys is a risk, and you have a commodity that you have seen before.
Yeah.
You know, and look, RG, we could go down the list of motherfuckers that were locks to be great. And so that's what also concerns me. So I am not interested in moving up to 1 if it costs us a ton. You know, if a guy wants to trade out of 1 because he hates the situation, he can leverage it so it's not so expensive, then, all right, I might listen. But no, right now I'm interested in trying to take advantage of somebody who falls. Like, can we get Simmons at 7 and then Kinlaw at 15 if we had to trade, if somebody traded to the 7th spot and we got the 8th pick or something? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I know, that's a pipe dream. Let's keep going on. Smash the thumbs up button. Thanks for participating in the chat room. Thank you, Susan, for your donation to the C3 Panthers podcast. And you can be a part of the show by calling in to the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-1598. Here's the next call.
C3, what's going on? Simple Southern Customs out here. I'm going to try something. Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, check Greg. Does he have a boner?
Greg is, he's putting his kids to sleep.
That Greg took a week off from being the tag daddy back to stat daddy, because once he stopped talking about Tua for a week, he started making some common sense. No, Greg, I'm just messing with you. But no, guys, I woke up this morning in cold sweats because I had a nightmare that I got the ESPN notification that Cam Newton was a Charger. Don't want it to happen.
That is a nightmare. Uh-oh. There's 20 more seconds of the call of silence.
Still going to be weird to see Greg Olsen now in a Seahawks uniform.
All right.
Love
Good,
the GM segment that you guys did last week. Please do some more of those segments. It was very entertaining.
Oh, thank you. That was Greg's stat daddy's idea. All right. Let's not address the Cam to Chargers thing. We've already been talking plenty about that. Let's talk about Greg Olsen as a Seahawk.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. It's that time.
Today, the Greg Olsen decided is between the Seahawks, the Washington Redskins, as well as the Buffalo Bills, that he was going to go and play with Russell Wilson. And I guess all of a sudden this weird conversation emerged on Twitter as like, will you cheer for Greg Olsen anymore? I feel like it's too much. Like, I don't even get, I think right now as the team is doing poorly, my rivalry vendettas have gone down. So I hate all these teams, but I hate them less when we suck.
Yeah, I do too. I still hate the Falcons and the Saints the same.
Sure. The Falcons, I would never, ever, I can't even like wear red. I feel like every time I wear red, and my wife's family is a Georgia Bulldog. They're all Georgia Bulldog alum. So we pull for them. And when I wear the shirts, I'm just like, ugh. It's like,
CK is taking off his red shirt.
Oh, that was great. If you were watching, you can't see what just happened. CK stripped off his bloody garments. Cody,
sorry,
what's
guys.
your thoughts?
Get that out of here.
What are your thoughts, Cody, on Greg Olsen signing with the Seattle Seahawks?
I'm happy for my man, dude. I mean, listen, if Greg was going to go somewhere, I would want him to go to a legitimate Super Bowl contender. The Seahawks are always in the playoffs. Russell Wilson is the top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, listen, if you're in the twilight of your career and you hear the booth calling your name, like, why would you want to go to Washington, where I'm a fan of Dwayne Haskins? I think there's going to be a good quarterback.
But it's not tomorrow. It's not tomorrow.
Yeah, and no matter what, if you love him or hate him, you're still projecting.
Right.
You know, no one knows who he is yet. Josh Allen has a lot of potential. He's done some good things, but he's still up and down. A lot of the things that people said about him before the draft are still kind of true. Whereas you have Russell Wilson throwing you the football. They were already posting pictures together at the Super Bowl, at the award ceremony. Yeah, dude, I can't be upset about this. if he was gonna move on from us and go to a different football team, then I'm happy that it's with a team like Seattle.
Cody, I thought when it comes to him, obviously Russell Wilson, out of all of those people, I'm surprised there weren't more teams on the table, to be honest. I'm surprised Greg narrowed it to 3 this quickly, right away. But I think Seattle was the prize the whole time. And
Yep.
I think Greg learned something from playing with Cam. One of the things I've loved about Greg Olsen his entire time is how complimentary he's been about Cam Newton and how he knows so much of his career and his hard work and his success as hinged on another individual. And while he's proud of his body of work, he's appreciative that if you're in a situation like he was with the Bears, you can't be who you are. And I think he sees Seattle as an opportunity for another guy to make him better.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it was Trill 1, I think earlier, way back in the chat a long time ago, was when we first started the show, was talking about how Seattle is a tight end killer. And honestly, that's the same thing I thought too, just because Jimmy Graham was at the peak of his career going there.
Turns out Jimmy Graham was sorry, though. He wasn't even good in Green Bay either.
I looked up the stats because I didn't want to just talk and not say anything. And realistically, Jimmy Graham played for them for 3 years, and he was in a Pro Bowler 2 of the 3 years. And then if you look at Russell Wilson's other tight ends, he's had Zach Miller, Luke Wilson, and Nick Vannett are all his starting tight ends, which none of them have been big stars anywhere. So
But Luke Wilson got paid when he went to like the to the Lions or some shit like that. Russell Wilson got Luke Wilson paid. Remember Luke Wilson caught that like fourth quarter touchdown against the Panthers, and then everybody was like,
Eagles, didn't he?
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, I thought the same thing though. I thought it was a tight end killer, but when I look it up, it's really not. Just a good spot for him to go.
They're slowly putting weapons around Russell Wilson. DK Metcalf is a problem now. I think they still have Richardson.
No, Paul Richardson just got released by the Washington Redskins. It's Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, Lockett.
Little baby Lockett. He's what Jameer
Chris
Byrd
Carson and I mean they have a good running back room outside of the fact that they both got their Rashad Penny and Chris Carson got hurt there towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
They're not lacking on offense. They're not lacking.
No, nor on defense. If you look at their defense, they still have a squad of leaders. They have a lot of alpha dogs on that defense that can be a game record at any moment in time. So I think that there's a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that the Seahawks have the opportunity to make a run and be the most dominant NFC team in the NFC next year. I mean, I don't see any other team stepping up. The 49ers, I think they're just going to take a step backwards. I don't really see them doing anything beyond what they've done.
Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah.
Was there any chance that Greg Olsen would go to the Redskins or the Bills?
No, gosh.
No.
He said he didn't want to be a part of a rebuild. Why would he go to the Redskins?
Yeah.
All right. So the Bills are the Bills could be an opportunity though. The Bills, if Tom Brady moves on from New England, all of a sudden there's division leaders and there's a
it's not a bad.
there.
It wouldn't have been a bad move to go to Buffalo, and they would have been able to run 2 tight end sets because they have a talented tight end by the name of Dawson Knox, who turned it on last year and made some.
I think
some
the
big for him.
Seahawks have a pretty good tight end already.
Bill Dissly did pretty good towards the end of the year, I believe. But here's the thing about the Seahawks is they're structured very much like Carolina is. The way they build their team, the way they play football, it's probably a pretty easy transition from Carolina to Seattle.
In my opinion, Seattle, and they're only a couple of pieces away every year. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to gauge them right now. But I do think going to Seattle puts him in a place where you got DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett. Like you said, you've got these running backs. You have Russell Wilson. And then look, they still get more free agency and more draft. Is Greg Olsen doesn't have to go save that team. He just has got to go and he's going to be perfect there. Dude,
Right.
I bet you he's gonna have like 1,100 yards next year, something stupid, or just like 10
the reason
touchdowns.
that I think he's gonna enjoy it is I think he's going to have the opportunity to relax slightly, like when he's. And I'm not saying Cam Newton.
No, he doesn't have to be the leader of the team.
Cam Newton, I think, is a leader, but I think that there is a lot that Greg Olsen would take off of Cam Newton's shoulders. I don't think he has to do that with Russell Wilson. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Cam Newton is dumb or that Russell Wilson is that much better of a quarterback, but I think that there's a lot of evidence to show that Russell Wilson is a lot more poised and he has a lot more as far as control of the offense, which I think that once we get Cam back, I think we'll see that. But I do think that Greg Olsen will have a little bit of a resurgence because he's only going to have to focus on himself. Russell Wilson.
Well, I think Russell he's going to make Greg better rather than Greg having to make the quarterback better.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson looks like fucking Billy D. Williams, man. Was that his name? Back from the Star Wars shit. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys: if I give you a line, could give me the over under? I say the line for Greg Olsen next year to be a success is 55, 60 catches, 700 yards, 6 touchdowns.
That's success.
What do you think?
In my opinion.
Over under
for a $7 million contract. That's success.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to go over or under that?
Push.
No, you know what, man? There's such a benefit in having just an intelligent guy that knows what he's supposed to be, like Greg Olsen. I would.
He might have like 480 yards, but still have like 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I mean,
that's a good line that I put out there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good
I think
stat
so.
for a
I think the 700 and what'd you say, 740? That's a high. Like if you could push that number down into the 610, then I'm thinking like that's tough.
Under.
Yeah, I'm under definitely. I'm under on yards only.
Okay. I think
yards and I mean, he could probably have 40 catches. I bet he has like 40 catches for like 510 yards, but he has 7 touchdowns.
You know who I think that this benefits more than anybody? Not Russell Wilson. I think it benefits DK Metcalf.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Great point.
Yep.
But yeah, when you have a number 1 wide receiver, it helps. And this is what we've been saying all along, that Greg Olsen, if it goes somewhere, he's not going to elevate everything that you do. He's going to be a nice complementary piece. And by the way, another reason why I'm not mad at this at all, Greg Olsen has already been on record saying that Charlotte is his home. Like after the football career is done, him and his wife and his family, they're not done in this community. Like Greg Olsen is going to be in the Panthers Hall of Honor. That's why I like this even more. If he's not going to be with us, then go be with another team that is always in the playoffs, has a damn good quarterback, and is going to be able to do right by him. So salute to the man, and I'm happy he got paid, man. He got $7 million for a year. Yeah, dude, that's
5.5 guaranteed. Yeah,
that's good.
I take that and a lot less.
Well, I mean, he
earned it.
He was primed for more with us, granted, but
would you be more upset?
Right, but that's also why we cut him, though.
Yeah,
and I bet you probably had some dead money with this. Would you be more upset if you heard these 2 things? Greg Olsen signs with the Seahawks for $7 million, or Greg Olsen stays with the Panthers during rebuild for $13 million. I tell you this, as I'm happy. I think this is everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think this is the. Yeah. I mean, I love having Greg Olsen on the team, but I think we have to develop the guys in the room now. You know,
if you're worried about Cam Newton and his future, you can't be ready to play out.
Thomas has had 2 years to learn under Greg Olsen. If he hasn't got enough to be able to start, if he hasn't gotten enough knowledge from Greg Olsen in that 2-year period to be able to start and actually be a contributing, asset to this team next year, then if they don't believe in him, if they have the conversations and they see him in the training camp and whatnot. I think it's time for Ian Thomas' experiment to be over. if he cannot produce next year.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about it. Joey Esquivel says this. I think the reason why Greg Olsen is so great, it's not because he's explosive, but because he's intelligent and knows where the hell he's supposed to be. And I think that he's never been explosive. Like, even when he was his most athletic, he was like a sort of athletic white dude.
I mean, listen, at the combine, Greg Olsen ran a 4.5. So he might not have it anymore. And who knows how long he had it for, but it wasn't. I would say that Greg Olsen is a better athlete than Jason Witten. Now, that might not be saying much, but if I had to compare the two, I would probably say that Greg is the more athletic of the two.
Greg Olsen didn't run away from nobody back at any time. No. He would always had the old dad run. He had I always called him snowshoes Olsen. You know, just those knees that are so high. But it's Russell Wilson that needs a guy where he's supposed to be.
He needs hands. That's what it is. Yeah, Greg Olsen got some damn hands.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Sarah Taylor who says Olsen has that slow shuffle now.
Hey, I gotta tell you, man, the chat room's driving me crazy right now because I keep seeing Greg this and Greg that and Greg this, and it's like it's every time I look at it, I see Greg all the time. And
don't worry, they're all talking about you. Don't worry.
They're not talking about your bat daddy at this point. Like, that's,
I know. It's just weird to look at it and be like, oh,
Greg doesn't exist in as far as your name is concerned.
You missed the last call where the last call was very complimentary of your talk about Tua, as well as last week's segment of us doing the GM picks. So,
nice.
Greg got some love there. All right. Yeah. Numbers 252-228-5098. Next call.
What's up, C3 fam?
Call D.
Call D.
What's
going on, fellas? What's up? The professor himself, Mr. Tony D. The guru of football scouting, Mr. Cody
Cody, what's up, baby?
The stat daddy himself,
drink to that one,
who is in the building and has decided to give us his grateful presence. And the man CK, what's going on? What's up, guys? First, I'd like to apologize to my man Cody. Last week I said I was disappointed in you because you had mentioned if we traded Cam getting one of the draft picks, getting quarterback Justin Herbert. I rewatched tried to pay attention to exactly what you was meaning when you saying that. I came to the conclusion that he just happened to be a name that you was throwing in there. So
yeah,
it's good. And even if I'm wrong, I'm going to pretend that that's how you was interpreted. Okay. Okay. But anyway,
that works.
Yeah, guys. So, Cody, what do you? Okay, let's say we keeping Cam Newton.
Yep.
I want to know. Give me some players off the top of your head we should get. If more, and don't say other than the defensive that we should know about that. The people should know about, in your views, a good fit for Carolina. Not the obvious choices like Simmons and the defensive tackle from Auburn.
Okay.
But
good question.
Other guys who may fall to us that
who's climbing?
take a chance at? Yeah.
Good question.
Great question.
Yeah, so.
All right. Thanks, Greg, for that call right there. Go ahead and get it, Cody.
So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give them everything they asked for. I'm going to give you some picks that you haven't heard at number 7 even. So let's talk about Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs is an offensive tackle. He plays primarily right tackle for Iowa, but he also has been known to play left tackle, and he can kick inside to guard. And I think when you look at the importance of and I've been saying this on a podcast for a long time, and long-time listeners will be able to corroborate me on this. Interior defensive line and offensive line play is coveted because you're either destroying the pocket for the quarterback or you're creating the pocket for the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So Tristan Wirfs is a player that you can put at left guard on day one, and the dude is just a beast. Like, he broke weightlifting records at Iowa for the position. I've watched some of his film. I'm not done watching him, but the dude is just mean on the football. He's tough on the line of scrimmage. That would be a player, especially if you look at what Quentin Nelson has done for the Indianapolis Colts and how much that one player turned around their entire offensive line. Mm-hmm. Dude, that would be a really good pick for us at number 7. Another player, and I'm going to shout out. Could you get him
at 12?
So what?
Could you get him at 12?
Yeah. So, dude,
so can we trade back and get like you know what I'm saying? All right, but
this is the best offensive line class in over 10 years.
Wow.
So if the Panthers don't, like right now off the top of my head, there are probably 5 tackles that could go in the first round this year. I mean, it's loaded. So even if we don't go at the top of the draft, the Panthers would be dumb to not take this opportunity to fill out the offensive line. Another name to look out in the later rounds, right? So, shout out to Brother Herbert. A lot of people are up and down on James Bradberry. I'm one of them. Bradberry wants top 5 corner money, and I'm just not about that life.
Nope.
So, shout out to Brad Dugan because he mentioned him in the chat room earlier. There's a guy from Mississippi State by the name of Cameron Dantzler. And for the past 2 years, he has been by far one of the best corners in the SEC. Plays for Mississippi State. The dude only allowed 1 touchdown in coverage this year. And the Biletnikoff Award-winning wide receiver, Jamar Chase out of LSU, Cameron Dantzler was the only person to hold them to under 100 yards this season. So Cameron Dantzler is another name people definitely need to be looking out for.
Cody, who's the guy from Ohio State?
Jeffrey Okudah.
Now, is there a chance with all of the hype and all of this is that he's like of the level of the cat that went to Cleveland last year, right?
So, well, let me say this, and I'll say it with 2 players. Chase Young is the best defensive end prospect that I've ever personally scouted. Jeffrey Okudah is the best corner that I've ever personally scouted. I would have him ranked above Jalen Ramsey if Jalen Ramsey were in this class.
If the Lions pass on a corner there, is he available at 7?
Oh, dude, for no doubt, dude.
And do you take him,
dude? Yeah,
over Isaiah. You take him over Simmons?
Well, it's so tough with Isaiah. It's so tough with Isaiah. Because you're going to be able to deploy him in such a versatile
How many
manner.
players have we said that about, and it doesn't happen the way it's supposed to be?
Dude,
that's what we said about Shaq. Do you remember about that? That's what we said about Shaq. This mug can play slot. He can do none of them do it, dude.
Yeah, but they're also you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Like a lot of these players, they bring them in And what ends up happening is if they don't have a true home, then teams don't know where to use them, and they'll put them at one spot and leave them there. And that is a caveat with Isaiah Simmons. You do have to realize that if we draft him, we have to utilize him in a way that was similar to how Clemson did. Because you're going to be able to use him as a weapon that confuses opposing offenses. You don't know if it's going to be in the slot, on the edge, at corner, free safety. I mean, there's so many different options for Isaiah. But Jeffrey Okudah, I mean, dude, that's a shutdown corner, the likes of which the Panthers have never known. In all of their years, they will have never had a prospect on the level of Jeffrey Okudah at that position. I mean, he's the best.
Sounds
corner
sexy
in my
to me.
mind. Yeah, the best
Sounds
corner
sexy
that
to me.
corner that I personally ever scouted. But again, take what I say with a grain of salt if you want.
And we'll probably, and just to do a shameless plug here,
sure,
the content we're going to be dropping midweek, hopefully multiple, little 10-minute videos here and there talking about the, possible draft picks the Panthers have, or anybody that is interesting. You're probably going to see a lot of highlights. You're going to hear Cody probably break down that tape of Okudah and many others in great detail. So you guys be looking out for that. We'll definitely let you know when those drop.
Yeah, so that is a good.
It sounds like a gluttony of riches at 7. Do you remember when we picked McCaffrey at 7, right?
8.
6, right?
8.
Yeah, it's
8.
Yep.
You're right. But think about it. Is like right now there could be potentially a transcendent corner available at 8. There could be a defensive tackle, the dude from Auburn or Kinlaw. There could be Isaiah Simmons. There could be the Tristan Cat. There could be the dude from Georgia. Like, there's top 5 players because there are so many quarterbacks that are pushing those players out.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's what I was saying earlier. If a lot of these quarterbacks end up going that high, you're guaranteed to have.
Dude, keep Cam, give him a left fucking tackle and get a damn D tackle. Let's do this shit.
That's what I'm saying. But
I think this is probably the richest draft class I've seen since like 2011, because 2011 was
that shit was nice.
Loaded draft class.
Yeah, this draft class is a monster.
Okay.
It really
it's like the Aaron Donald draft class.
And it's so deep, man. So, like, another thing, like Isaiah Simmons is a linebacker, and that's what he's called. But yeah, like I said, he really does kind of do everything. Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma, is one of the best pure inside linebacker prospects that I've seen in a long time. So, like, that's another guy that ideally I would love to have at any other point in time. Like, Grant Delpit, I think, would be a shutdown free safety in the NFL. There's so many players that are. I mean, this is. In case you couldn't tell, I love this shit, dude. Like I love scouting players. I love talking about this. This is my thing. I'm so excited for this draft. I'm counting the days to the combine. I'm so excited to get some numbers on these guys. Dude, if Isaiah Simmons runs a 4.3, good Lord, dude. I mean, he might not go out of the top 3. I mean, that's bananas. So, yeah, I'm
what's his height and weight again?
6'4", 230 plus pounds.
That's a little light for a linebacker, right? You got to put on 10 more pounds.
Dude, but look at the guys that have, like Roquan Smith and Devin White before. I mean, the modern linebacker is not this big run stuffing guy like a Dick Butkus way back in the day. You know, these are guys that are in coverage. They're sideline.
Well, if you can run a 2.43 at 240, like God, I mean, go for it.
But his arms are so long, so he's going to be able to. So he's going to be able to. So remember how we used to say like whenever Luke was doing bad. It was whenever the offensive lineman would get to the second level and they'd block him. Well, Isaiah Simmons has the arm length that he'll be able to engage those people first sometimes and will be able to shed them and be fast enough to make a play on the football. Like, people are going to take this the wrong way. I know it because everyone's reactionary. But Isaiah Simmons has a far higher ceiling than Luke Kuechly did when he was coming out. Like, I'm not saying that he'll be anywhere near that player, but I'm saying if you look at physically what they have the
quick we move on. How quick we move on.
We just lost 25 viewers.
Well, hey, I wanted to put one hypothetical thing out there real quick because we were talking about Okuda at 7, and I think that's a great pick if he's there. But just say he's not, or we decide to go a different direction, and we decide to fill up cornerback and free safety. I want your opinion on one free safety that's out there. I don't personally like this guy, but a lot of Panthers fans tend to really love him. And don't think he wants to play for Rivera next year. So what do you think about Josh Norman coming back here?
Oh, God, no. No.
I'm a no.
Well, you know what? He wouldn't be bad as a zone corner. He would not be bad as a zone corner. Yeah, he would not be bad if you surround him with some decent players. If
you put him in the right program, like he was very good in cover too, and unfortunately,
I think we're ready to move on. I think we're trying to turn the page from that.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like bringing him back is something like maybe Rivera would do.
Yeah,
not Matt.
Which is odd that they're the ones that got rid of him.
I wanted from you all.
Did you hear what the quote was? Sorry, I got clickbaited. This is the thing. I did hear some people complaining recently when the Charlotte Observer declared the McClatchy group. They recently declared bankruptcy. Who owns the Charlotte Observer? I think they own the Raleigh.
Yeah. Now that you're mentioning this, it's starting to kind of.
I think it's the McClatchy, something like that. All right. So some people were mourning the demise of journalism, right? And I think it was Kyle Bailey. People were talking about it. And I'm not entirely sad or like just like cryy about this shit because I do think they had enough monetary means early on. They didn't leverage themselves. Media outlets didn't leverage themselves in the podcasting world as well as they could. So they missed some opportunities. But what they were going on to say is that these are actual reporters writing like long form decent journalism, and where online journalism has devolved to like the lowest common denominator.
Clickbait. Yeah. Headlines that just get you the clip. They get the clip.
But it's like CBS News is doing it. It's not like a blog that's doing it. Is that they're all push.
That's what Twitter and Facebook do. People don't even read that shit. They just read the article and keep scrolling. Or the headline and keep scrolling.
I read the comments to know what the headline's about. So that's what I do. I wait. I find somebody who has saved me some time and commented on that story. So
it's kind of hard for me to see any of this news unfolding when even the information sources are basically just us.
Yeah,
they're just
something I wanted to bring up earlier is a lot of this stuff, like even with the source of, that's something that I've been saying for a while. Until they quote a source, I won't know. Well, Jordan Rodriguez comes out with that saying that he's healthy. And this is exactly a week after we had the podcast where, we all kind of were in agreement that why not come out and say that you expect him to be healthy? And all of a sudden,
are the source. We're the source.
It's how do you listen to the podcast and not think that somebody high up in the Panthers organization is listening to what we say? Because it almost seems like every week after we have a deep conversation that makes sense, somehow, some way the Panthers make a change, or they make or there's an article out there that indicates exactly what we've talked about. It's kind of crazy.
If the Panthers traded Cam Newton because of some shit that I would say, I'd fucking drive off a bridge.
Oh gosh.
And he could really do that.
Done, dude.
He could really do that too.
Oh yeah, I know. But by the way, can I just make a parallel real quick? And I think that this is a great point. Dude, it doesn't matter if you're talking about politics or football. Whenever you have like a conglomerate that owns these media sources, you always have to ask yourself in the back of your head, okay, what's the spin here? Like, what are they trying to get their readers to believe? Whereas when you want to know about football and you come to the C3 Carolina Cat Chronicles podcast, dude, no one's bullshitting you here. Like, no one's trying to sell you a fake bill of goods. It's from the fan perspective. We're all fans, but we're keeping it real. We're watching
it. We're watching it. That's the thing, is we have watched this as closely as Joe Person has. We have watched it as closely as Rodriguez. We might not have had the access some of them have had, but you cannot question that. It's like here. It's like if you're trying to say this, you could put any one of us in David Newton's job, and we would be able to give you similar insight, probably less baitish.
Way better insight than Dave Newton, especially.
But less clickbaitish. You know what I'm saying? He's actually very good at clickbait. And I think his misspelling thing and his error thing. Yes, I think it is.
You're giving him way too much credit, bro.
Dude.
Way too much
He took a small market and turned them against him. And that's how he keeps his blog on ESPN.
It's so stupid, dude.
You will click shit where David Newton misspells. Don't lie.
By the way, my only point is no matter who you are, no matter what you're looking at, man, get your news from independent media. Because independent media, especially in today's age, is by far the best, no matter what you're talking about.
And let me say this. Who the fuck broke the Carolina Panthers in the all or nothing? Or is it?
You're damn right.
Who broke that news? Cody Lashney broke that news. That's who broke it. Cody Lashney. On this podcast, we had it months before anybody because we be watching the Twitter. We be watching the Amazon shippings. We be watching everything.
And I had the inside sources, baby.
I have to throw this out here, too. After the Redskins game, I said there's no way Ron Rivera doesn't make it past this week. Yeah. And he didn't.
Yeah. And David Tepper fired him after we took a picture together.
Yeah.
So how about that? I took a picture with David Tepper. He listened to my man, CK, and then all of a sudden, fired. All right, let's go to the next call.
You told Tepper about the podcast, didn't
you? Yes,
I did not.
Rochelle.
What's up, Anthony? That's a good name, brother.
Looking forward to next season with our new coach, and I just think that we have a new clean slate. We'll see how this goes, but I don't think they should trade Christian McCaffrey for
anywhere
to a point of getting the first round pick for
would that be enough to get you the number one?
We do need a quarterback, but we should get the quarterback in the first round or second round, depending on the situation. I just want to figure out what you guys think. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Anthony, for the call, the strong name, and I personally agree is that right now Christian McCaffrey is kind of the bright spot of the organization. He does appear to be the untouchable one. But Cody, what could you do Christian McCaffrey for the number one pick?
No, man. No.
Why? He's the best player in the NFL.
That's why we would be trading him. Because running back is so incredibly devalued in today's NFL.
But he's not devalued at all. He was a single-handed he's not a running back. He's not a running back. He is
and he couldn't get his football team above 5 wins because no running back will ever be.
That's the dependent position. You can't put that on him.
I'm not
that's
putting
what
it
he's
all on
saying.
Because our defense sucked. Our defense sucked. It wasn't even our offense. We probably averaged 22 points this year.
The Cincinnati Bengals earned the first pick in the draft. Okay, that means they're not a good football team. That means Christian McCaffrey is not coming in. Christian McCaffrey is not coming to save them. I mean, listen. I love Christian McCaffrey. The fact of the matter is, you can have starting running backs that are drafted in the 4th or 5th round. We have no idea what Jordan Scarlett looks like. Reggie Bonifant went undrafted and he was running for touchdowns.
One.
Okay, well,
he was running for a touchdown.
What about the dude in the NFC Championship game for the 49ers had 4 touchdowns? I mean,
but they also had a transcendent quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. That's not. It's not like all of a sudden you could put that motherfucker on a team like the Giants and he would be Saquon Barkley. No, there is a. This was my point earlier when it came to drafting a player. Is that I would rather have a transcendent player than the best quarterback on the board. And and right now, McCaffrey is about as look. Marshall Faulk came out and said this kid is better than I am. Yeah. Marshall Faulk. There's only one motherfucker in the NFL that can ever say he's better than Marshall Faulk, and that's
wasn't Marshall
from
Faulk
damn
a
Detroit
part of
Lions.
a football team that was literally nicknamed the greatest show on turf? It wasn't
because
just
of him.
Faulk.
It was him fucking dominating, dude.
Kurt Warner and Torrey Holt.
Didn't the greatest show on turf get shut down in the Super Bowl and lose?
No, not well. One time, but they also won 2 times.
They did.
They won
but
2
they did
times.
Win one.
Look, they did win one. Okay, look. Here's the thing: is while you're right, Cody, that the Bengals were garbage last year. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, he said.
Okay. While you're right, the Bengals were kind of garbage last year. I don't think they're a bad team. They have a lot of talent. They really do. I don't think that if you have a bad year, it means you're a bad team. You can be a good team and have a bad year.
Yeah,
it can happen. I mean, I think Carolina's been a good team that's had some bad years in the last couple of years. We're a good team.
Look at the 49ers.
They have a lot of talent.
The 49ers. They had the
49ers. Exactly. 4-12 last year.
Yeah, and then they were in the Super Bowl.
So exactly. Oh, should have won the Super Bowl. But I don't know. The Bengals, you're right. They did earn the number 1 spot. I just feel like they could, with the right pieces, with the right thing, because their biggest need right now is quarterback. And to be truly honest with you, they don't really have to have a quarterback. I mean, think about it. Andy Dalton's been in the league the same number of years Cam Newton has, and he's going to the playoffs more times in a tougher division. I mean, Andy Dalton's not a terrible quarterback, so they don't necessarily have to.
Has he been more? Has he been more?
No, that's not true. That's not. Look it up.
6 times in 8 years.
And bullshit. That's bullshit.
6 times. He hasn't won a single playoff game.
I call bullshit. Look it up. I'm playing the next call. I'm playing the next call. You look it up.
All right, I've got it right.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy, the Black Cat, Brandon Herbert. I'm not even sure if I'm going to make the podcast today. But anyway, thanks for whoever that called in and everything, checking on me and everything. I haven't really been talking about it in a while. But yeah, that James Bradbury, I would probably croak over and die if we signed him to a 10-year deal or any deal, really.
You, brother.
Yeah, I've been kind of voicing my opinion through Twitter and everything a lot. So yeah, that's basically all I've been doing. But I mean, as far as the team and everything, I don't know what Greg has been seeing about. I don't know how you can't be excited and what's going on in the future and everything like that. Yes, we have a lot, and I see a lot of holes to fill. So I'm not expecting us to be 11-5 next year or whatever the case may be. If we are, that's great. But the coach we have, I don't know. It's just the energy in the room when I heard him speak and everything like that. It's just so magnetic. it was great for me. And I didn't know too much about him until we signed him, and then I started looking at a lot of the things. Like, he's made everything better. Like, from every job he's ever had, they've been bad to okay to great. Like, I can't understand how you can't be excited about someone like that. Especially because
we ain't seen shit. That's why.
It's not just an offensive coordinator. It's not just a defensive coordinator. He's been from special teams to offense, defense. Cool. He's played both sides of the ball, and that right there is a valuable tool. And then agree. Joe Brady, I'm not sure about him, but he might be a really good young offensive mind and everything like that. I'm still concerned about the defense. We'll see about that Snow guy, which, hey, he could do good in the pros, but I do like the mix of a little old and a little new with his coaching staff. I'm actually very positive and optimistic about it. Chip Kelly, he even though it was only a couple years, he had success. Jim Harbaugh had success. It's not. I mean, yes, they struggle a lot coming to the pro level, but at the same time, they are some people that have had success in this league.
That's why Greg's being measured about it.
So, I mean, I don't know what your problem is.
Look, I'm going to take the defense here. Do it. I'm taking the defense in this because I am excited about Matt Rhule because, like, you give me a good preacher and a speaker and I'm ready to go worship, right? But we don't just need to put, paint lipstick on everything. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. You haven't said anything negative. You have just been cautious. And I don't think there's anything unfair with being cautious in a situation that doesn't look good, period.
I feel like the cat calls line almost exclusively exists for people to roast Tony and Greg.
It seems that way.
It's just us two. Why us two? Why?
Earlier I was wrong. Andy Dalton didn't go 6 times to the playoffs. He's been 5 times. So he's been drafted. He's been in the league as many years.
How many playoff games has he won?
5 times.
0.
I'll give you that. He's won 0 games. So I have no defense there.
And it was their first 5, and they were all wild card, maybe except one. No, I think they were all wild card.
He won the division twice.
Yeah, and so it's not. At the end of the day, comparing the two would be.
He's sorry. He's sorry.
He did have an. He had an incredible
He's sorry, man.
Talent in AJ Green. Let's be honest.
Yes.
He's
I agree. My point of it is what I'm saying is that
he sucks the red D.
With the right stuff, they would be willing to get away with not drafting a quarterback or giving away that number 1 pick.
It would be silly not to draft Burrow right now. They would be dumb to not draft
Burrow. A great
Burrow.
Quarterback makes you great for a while, like for a long time, right? You know that.
And there's only one opportunity. That's the thing, is that you hope you're never here again. At the worst case, you're hoping at the worst case scenario you're a top 5 pick next year or some shit like that. But you hope you're never number 1 again as long as that quarterback's playing. Now, if you want to say that Burrows is the equivalent of Blake Bortles, then, Jacksonville may have forced it. But Burrows also had one of the best football season in the best football conference. So it's not like there's nothing. It would just be you would be trying to it would be like something Dave Gettleman did if you didn't draft him.
But also, what I would say is this, though. I don't think so. The Bengals, like what Greg was saying, I think Greg is right. I mean, they do have a lot of really good players on that football team, but they haven't been able to utilize it yet. So another running back like that, or Cat Caller was saying, Christian McCaffrey isn't going to put them over the edge. And I don't think Andy Dalton's going to put them over the edge.
Andy Dalton has been sorry from day one, bro. He has sucked the whole time.
That's a team that needs something new. I mean, it's. I mean, you never know how many times you're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft, you better damn sure make sure that you feel that's the best player in this draft. And
imagine if the Panthers, think about this. What if the Panthers would have picked Patrick Peterson or Von Miller over Cam Newton?
It would have been the dumbest shit that we've ever done.
It just, you know what? They wouldn't have had this success they've had in the next 10 years.
Now, you might be able to say, well, Von Miller won the Super Bowl beating up on Cam Newton, but that was also a lot to do
with the whole team. The whole fucking team.
They also had a shell of Peyton Manning left,
and Cam Newton took Philly Brown and all those bitches to the Super Bowl. So that's the thing is that, yes, is Patrick Peterson been the best corner in the fucking league? Yeah. But you know what?
For a little while.
What have the Arizona Cardinals done? Not shit. Got beat by the Panthers in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, you do pick that.
They did make it to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and we beat that ass. And we beat that fucking ass.
I'm just answering your question, man.
I'm not trying to detract from how much those players can contribute to a team. But if you're a team that doesn't have a quarterback and your team sucks and you got the number 1 pick, it just seems stupid. If it would be a different too if it's Blake Bortles and it's like, oh, there's no quarterbacks or some shit like that.
Yeah.
No, he just had the best season in college football history.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a no.
He played for more than 1 season, and
don't overthink
that's
it.
That's why I like.
Don't overthink it
because Tua's been consistent his whole career.
Don't overthink
one great season. I understand, but okay.
Cody, what would you pick right now if you're the Bengals and you had to pick between Tua and Burrow? What would you do?
I'd probably still pick Joe Burrow just because I think that, and it's very narrowly. I don't care if anyone says Tua because that's a fine answer too. I really like Tua, but
it's health, right? It's health.
But I'm saying, let's say the health wasn't an issue, right? So we're talking healthy Joe Burrow, healthy Tua. I have no problem whoever you decide to be number 1, but I
can't say that
when you have a season like Joe Burrow did and you do what he did, I think that he deserves to be rewarded with the number 1 pick in the draft. I mean, and listen, I don't want to poo-poo the guy, man. Like, there is so much, and dude, Joe Burrow's pocket presence. Dude, his ability to move within the pocket reminds me of like a prime Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
like the dude is that good.
My only thing about that mindset is I've seen a lot of people say the same thing about a lot of Jamarcus Russell was the same way. You know, when Tim Tebow was coming out of college, it's like you've never seen quarterbacks do this kind of stuff. I mean, it doesn't always work out like that. I want to know what you guys think about Joe Burrow coming out and saying that he controls his own destiny. What was he saying? Something about controlling his own destiny, or he has leverage for whatever he wants to do. And then his father coming out and saying that he doesn't want him to play for the Bengals. And then multiple Bengals players coming out and saying, use your leverage and don't play for the Bengals. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Who are the players? This is awesome. Is there like, don't come to this fucking shit? But I'm still cashing my check.
Carson Palmer said it.
Yeah. So like, you should mention with that though, former players. No one on the team right now.
Right. But same point. Organization, you know.
Yeah, same point. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm of the personal opinion that, I mean, maybe in this draft because you have so many teams that would probably be willing to trade up. But I think the Bengals still hold all the power. I think they're going to draft them number 1. And like I said earlier, there's no guarantee that even if you're Joe Burrow and you say, dude, I'm not going to Cincinnati at all under any circumstance,
they may still draft you.
They could still draft you, and they have the exclusive rights to your NFL contract for another year. And then you can re-enter the draft next year. And there is no guarantee, especially with Trevor Lawrence coming out, dude, there's no guarantee you're going to be the number 1 pick. And you're going to have to not play football for a whole year. So Joe Burrow is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal.
Okay. I'd rather have 2 anyway, so that works.
And I don't blame you. And one more thing, I know I'm getting long-winded. I'll move on. One of the arguments that you'll be able to make about both of them is both of them had the best receivers in all of college football.
Very true.
Like you're talking about LSU's, they won the Offensive Line of the Year award. They had the best wide receiver. I mean, they had all of this talent, but the same thing can be said of Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, you're going to have to see these dudes with football teams that are not very good. I mean, we're talking the Dolphins, the Bengals. I mean, a lot of these teams, they're not just gonna look fantastic right out the starting line. So, yeah.
All right, next call. It's probably more Brandon Herbert.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I don't know what your problem is, Greg, about being so pessimistic about everything that's going on in Carolina right now. Like, and we all know how critical I am of the team, but at the same time, there are some good things going on. There are some bad things as well with all the retirements, all the pieces. There are going to be a lot of new faces and everything like that. But you say what y'all want about Marty Hurney. The last couple of years, it may not seem like it because the coaching staff, I believe, I blame it on the coaching staff, they haven't shown off the true talent that Marty Hurney has brought in, but he's done a great job when it comes to the draft. If you look at the talent that we have, maybe they haven't been coached up to the potential yet, but I think the talent that we have right now, we have a good core of young talent.
I agree. I agree with that.
Marty Hurney
we have talked
is not
about the
a bad
teaching element
talent
of this
evaluator. That's why the owner said, he's keeping Marty Hurney for the talent evaluation part, but he's just bringing in somebody else for the financial part because Marty Hurney is a great talent evaluator. I don't care what nobody says. I still think Christian Miller should have gotten way more playing time. We all know Brian Burns should have gotten more playing time. There's so many different people that he's brought in. So the way I look at it, the GM's job is to bring in the talent. The coach's job is to coach that talent. So that's where I'm putting the blame on. Yeah, that he has some misses and everything. Everybody has misses. But as far as the talent, we weren't just a lack of talent, football team. And our offensive line wasn't great, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like it wasn't 2 years ago terrible.
Yeah.
I think if Greg Little, he struggled a little bit, but when he gets healthy, and if he can get healthy, because concussions are a big deal,
and reps,
I think that our offensive line will be okay. But I wouldn't be, and this is the first year I'm going to say, if we drafted an offensive tackle, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't think that is our main need right now.
I agree. This is a good call by Brandon.
I would love. One thing before I get cut off again. Simmons, when I watch him and everything, he's more of a safety to me. So I wanted to Cody. Like I know y'all keep on saying linebacker, and I finally seen a mock draft that had him inside linebacker / safety because I think he's more of a safety because of his build and everything like that. But he can be like a tweener, like a Tyrann Mathieu. But just let me know what you think about that.
All right. Thanks, Brandon,
anyway,
for the call.
Thanks, guys, for everything, and keep coming.
Good call, Brandon. Wrestling is not a sport. It is a theater event.
I think that's why he's mad at me, to be truly honest with you. And Brandon, I just put it out there. I agree with Tony. Wrestling is not a sport. Doesn't mean I don't like it. It's very athletic. It's very hard to do. I could not do it. It takes some amazing athletes. It's not a sport. It's predetermined. It's acting. It's fun to watch. I love it. I've loved it my whole life. I think I proved that, But anyway, go ahead.
So
I wanted to point this out though, as Travis Armstrong in the chat room said, agree with caller. Dante Jackson has talent, but has not been coached right. And what the last call from Brandon Herbert was talking about when it comes to Greg's non-excitement. The excitement actually does come from the idea that Matt Rhule and these guys might be able to use Christian Miller, might be able to use these guys in a way and teach them a way, or at least play the game to their strengths in a way that we felt was stale with the Rivera era. You know, so I mean, for me, is like Christian Miller could be a guy that never plays in the NFL, or he could be a guy that can be productive on our team. And we don't know.
The tale
we
of
don't.
most players in the NFL, like most, number one draft picks that aren't successful. That's the exact same. I mean, they have all the tools to be successful, but are they put in the situation that's best suited for them?
And I think this staff kind of lends towards that. That is where our optimism resides. Is that maybe that we will get more out of these guys than less.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's true based on the history that Matt Rhule has of turning programs around. That's turning, the middle, I guess the middle state of the players of everything. So if you're getting people drafted, I feel like you got a guy like Matt Rhule who's going to be making that phone call to you, telling you, hey, listen, you're going to be a Carolina Panther, and building you up. I mean, you're going to feel like you can, lift a car off of somebody. It's just. I think he has a motivating factor, and I think Ron Rivera has been a player's coach, but I think he's also been a coach that's
veterans coach. He's a veterans coach, man.
Yeah. Well, I think he is coaching from a empathetic point, right? He's been there. He's been in the big game. He's not performed well before, so I think his coaching style is basically, hey, listen, I'm one of you, so let's get you, to where you can actually be successful in this league. Whereas I think Matt Rhule is, listen, doing. I mean, I just honestly feel like Matt Rhule has the ability to build people up a lot better than Ron Rivera. We'll see whether it's actually true or not, but we'll see. I'm optimistic.
Bat Daddy, do you have Twitter available? Yeah, go to our group chat. I just sent a tweet to that chat. You're the stat daddy. I want you to read that infographic, read that picture, read all of those different. These are all of the different snaps that Isaiah Simmons has played at each and every position. Whenever you're ready, man.
Outside linebacker 116, inside linebacker 299. Slot cornerback 262, free safety 132, strong safety 100.
That is freak show type of
that
shit.
Is.
It's weird. I saw that infographic and it was like, this ain't right. But Dude. It also reeked of this is let's take our best player and just play him at quarterback. That's what we do. It's kind of like, look, I'm coaching my kid's basketball team right now. And I'm the assistant coach, and the head coach of the basketball team was a kind of quiet, reserved, a little bit quiet, reserved guy. But his son is like an athlete that people are already kind of like scouting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's in 6th grade, and cats are interested in him.
For what? Football?
Yeah, basketball. Well, basketball, probably football too. He's just tall, he's lean, he's athletic. He kind of knows what's up all the time. He's good. I mean, he's good. And what I feel like is that our natural style, because his kid is great, is kind of an ISO style. And that is, let's just get a screen. Let's just get the kid like one-on-one on these kids and let them beat them because we're athletic. And I think that's what football, middle school football, high school football, college football is like just put your best athlete with the ball the most time. And I think that starts to change in the NFL a little bit.
Do you remember in 2015? And the one game that we lost to Atlanta, that play, Matt Ryan threw to Julio Jones and Luke Kuechly was in coverage step by step with Julio, but Julio just went up and got it. If that's Isaiah Simmons, he probably intercepts that ball.
Wow.
Because he's taller. He's about the same height, but he could jump higher. He's longer. I mean, listen.
Well, can we make him our quarterback?
But no, but listen, but see, okay.
That's what we would do on my kids' basketball
team. You need to have some imagination because you're gonna miss the forest through the trees. I mean, really, Isaiah Simmons, and this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. Isaiah Simmons might be like a once in every 30 years type of player. I mean, he really is that kind of.
Well, then we should not give a fuck about Justin Herbert.
What I'm saying is that
we should not give a shit about Justin Herbert.
Listen, the reason why I say that though is you can have an athlete that can do everything, but it doesn't mean that you're going to put them at every position and they're going to do it all well.
Well, I'm not really being realistic about putting them at quarterback. I don't really mean that.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying a lot of people, if you're not able to be creative, I could also see a scenario where teams just don't know how to deploy him. I mean, if you kept him inside linebacker,
is there any concern? You know, Shaq was that athlete for the Carolina Panthers,
but they're not comparable. They're not even a little bit comparable. Not even a little.
Okay. I felt like everybody kept telling us Shaq could do everything.
Shaq ran a 4.6.
Except for hit a curveball. Shaq said he was 1 for 32 in the MLB. He said he could not hit a fucking curveball.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I brought that up for Brandon Herbert.
Well, then I'm more interested in selecting that guy than I am a guy who I think could be good. Imagine if you selected Blake Bortles, and then you could have had the best linebacker in the NFL history.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm with you, Tony. I'm kind of more excited about the way Cody's talking him up, drafting Isaiah Simmons than I am.
Let's go for that transcendent motherfucker, right? That's why I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right,
like
next call.
Man, you don't pass on him.
Yeah,
let's go. Yeah, and that is where we make it too complicated, perhaps.
Yeah,
we're being told to move on with the cat calls. Almost all things gaming. So play some calls. I want to hear you guys answer questions.
All right, hold on. Here we go.
Yo, this is T-Dog from Fayetteville, North Carolina. My question is to you guys. I want to know about what you think about Joe Burrow, and do you think he really is going to go to Cincinnati? And what he said as far as basically not giving a clear answer on if he wants to play for Cincinnati. All right.
Well, we've addressed this some, but I would say that initially I heard there was no problem with Joe Burrow going to Cincinnati. I heard Joe Burrow saying he was ready to play for any team that drafted him. I heard that his family was behind him. But now the winds have changed a little bit, and it seems like the Burrow family is cooling to the Cincinnati thing. But again, I do believe this is that unless he forces this trade, guys, I think that we would be leveraging too much right now on a team that needs too much for something that we do not know. You might as well go get that transcendent corner and then go get Trevor Lawrence or keep Cam.
I'm not mad at it, dude. I'm really not mad at it. And again, man, it's one of those scenarios where, yeah, I'm allowed to be biased sometime, dude. If we're gonna move on from Cam, I want the next quarterback for the Panthers to be Trevor Lawrence, dude. I'm a Clemson fan. I've watched all of his games.
You want a lady boy to be our quarterback.
I want the next fucking guy
he looks like a girl, man,
to be the quarterback for the Panthers. You know how to push my buttons, Tony Don.
He does look like a girl.
So what? Have you seen Cam?
How about this? Think about this. Think about how much I'm in love with Cam Newton. And then if you made him look like a girl, oh my God. If Trevor Lawrence is the MVP, imagine how quick I'm going to get on that.
What does that say about you that Cam Newton is the definition of masculinity and you're attracted to him, But Trevor Lawrence is kind of girly, and you're not so attracted to him.
Yeah, I don't
right
really
there.
find the logic there. I'm sorry. I don't,
Whatever.
because he don't look like a girl to me. All right, next one.
Hey, this is Stevie Wonder. I just had a quick question for you guys.
Stevie
If
Wonder.
we do trade Cam, what do you expect we get out of it, and where do you think he'll go? And in the long run, where do you see the longevity of this organization going with the moves that David Tedford is making? Thank you.
What are the teams, Cody, he goes to? For me, it's the Colts, the Chargers, and there's got to be one more out there.
Patriots or
yeah, the Patriots.
Maybe the
landing
people,
spot
yeah,
if
people,
Tom Brady leaves.
people have floated out the Bears too, but I don't think they have the draft capital to even trade.
They don't have
and they're NFC.
And they're too proud to move on from Mitch Trubisky, I think.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Well, we'll see. But dude, listen, I've been saying this for a while. I think it's the Chargers. I think it just makes too much sense. If Cam's gonna leave, I think that the Chargers and the Rams are getting ready to move into a brand new football stadium, especially in Los Angeles. Dude, no one gives a damn about the Chargers. Every game that they played was like a home game for the other football team. So if you're trying to ingratiate yourself with LA natives and you want to build a fan base around your football team, I mean, you just shipped out Phillip Rivers. I just think Cam Newton would be a perfect fit in Los Angeles. And that's where, especially with someone like Cam's personality, he's into fashion, he's flamboyant. Like for him, I think it would be happier.
It would be him and Tom Brady. Him and Tom Brady can walk into the LA scene and be fine.
Because I don't think Tom Brady's going to the Chargers. He's got a big offer from the Raiders today. Or was it today or yesterday?
Well, I heard that it was rumored that they were willing to give him that.
Yeah, they can't start talking until March.
Yeah, it'd be tampering right now.
Yeah.
Well, can I throw just one crazy idea out there? And it sounds crazy at face value, but if you really, really think about it, it makes sense. What if Bill Belichick goes after Cam Newton and picks up his last year of the contract? Hear me out. Gives us the number one. Gives us their first round pick because they have they're in the high 20s for the first round pick.
I think this would be best for
a quarterback Cam. that he has a quarterback he feels like he can go in the future with. He's never beaten Cam Newton before.
Nope.
His problem is always mobile quarterbacks.
No, I actually think New England is the best fit for Cam Newton outside of us.
Yeah, I really think they could make a move for him.
They could dominate. Look, they've been, and we were trying to get to a conversation that we weren't. Actually, all right, let's get to it. Drew Brees is gonna be coming back with the New Orleans Saints, and he's like what, 41?
Yeah, he's getting there.
Up there. They're messing up.
So he is. Look, they've got Teddy Bridgewater. They've got Taysom Hill, the best fucking football player in the history of the world. And they've got Drew Brees here. Ultimately, you've got to think about this, is that with that news that Drew Brees is coming back, which is probably the best for the Saints, in my opinion, for the short term, is that unless it's Tom Brady or not, Cam would be great in New England. Be fantastic. And you know what? I want to vomit saying those words on this podcast.
Dude, okay.
But Bill Belichick would love him.
I agree with you 100%, Greg.
Shout out to Josh from Mass. What would Josh from Mass do if Cam Newton went to...
Oh my gosh, what would he do?
Patriots? He already said I won't be able to tolerate it.
He said I have to move.
I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry, Josh. But it is a good
possibility. Hey, Josh, maybe you could become a Buffalo Bills fan.
So they so New England is obviously one that I've thrown out there, and I will say that most New England fans that I've ever talked to, as you know, there are plenty of them, that have been converted to New England fans over the past 20 years. But nonetheless, of the people that I've talked to, none of them want to see Cam Newton as a Patriot. Mainly because of their own biases or their,
you mean Patriot fans don't want to see Cam Newton as a Patriot?
No, same thing with
they would be sucking that big black cock before you know it.
So same thing with the reason, the Colts don't want to see Tom Brady come and be the quarterback for them. Like they just do. Like if you talk to a Colts fan, that's the worst possible thing you can say to them is Tom Brady's going to be a Colt. Until of course he wins them a Super Bowl. Then all of a sudden now they're just hopping up and down for him. But I thought about this too because the end of Jake Delhomme's career really happened with his Tommy John issue, right? And Ben Roethlisberger's now going through that process as well. The Steelers is not necessarily a bad. Depending upon what happens.
I agree.
I've heard plenty of people have brought that to my attention as a possibility. I think that's an odd one, because I don't really know how he fits in that, with that system. But I think he could definitely go in there and do what Ben Roethlisberger does, which is, run around, avoid, getting sacked and get the ball down, down the field with, Schuster and everybody.
And so also back to Greg's point, Bill Belichick, if ever you listen to interviews where he talks about Cam Newton, he is always so complimentary of Cam.
Yeah.
Like overly complimentary of Cam. Like him and Luke. Whenever Bill Belichick would talk about Cam Newton or Luke Kuechly, dude, his eyes would light up. So no, that's not a. In fact, Greg, I would even be so bold as to say I think that would probably rank number 2 as the most likely scenarios.
Yeah.
Like I would put the Chargers number 1 still because of the reasons I laid out, and then I would probably put the Patriots number 2. I will say I do think the Patriots are going to work out something with Tom
Brady. Yeah,
you think so?
But I don't know that. But that's what I think.
Wouldn't it be cool though if the Patriots fucking jettisoned Tom Brady and made him go out and be old in a different team, and they did bring in? So I think Cam would. How about this? Where would Cam have the most success?
Stop talking about it, Josh.
Where would Cam have the most success in the league? And
I think instantly what Cody says is the Chargers. Instantly. He would have
they have a great offense.
Long-term New England, I think.
Man,
another one to throw out.
Suck.
Another one to throw out, and I would hate for this to happen, but Tampa Bay. I think under I think you muted your microphone, Greg. Under Bruce Arians, I think he would thrive in that kind of system.
Man, I think you put Cam in New England. I think you put him in Chicago. I think he has the best success. Those two teams.
Yeah,
I was about to say Tampa Bay before my mic cut out.
Tampa Bay's Tampa.
I think. Look, guys, we're fucking done with this show. It's 11:03. We said we weren't going to go an hour. We're done with this show. We've talked about everything we need to talk. Oh my gosh, they're all gone. I'm not checking any more calls. Y'all bitches cannot call into this show. No more. We've talked about this exhaustively. You can call in next week. The number's 252-228-5098. My man said, the man that was here said, them IPAs are kicking in. Yeah, they're kicking in. It's bedtime, mofos. Bedtime.
It's that sleep deprivation.
Yeah. But here is that I'm tired. I'm so tired of talking about Cam Newton being somewhere else. And I feel like I'm like Samuel L. Jackson in the cafe at the end of Pulp Fiction. I'm tired, man. Tired. He's like, then reach in there and grab my wallet. Which one is it? The one that says bad motherfucker. That's Cam Newton's wallet.
You know what they call a quarter pounder in France?
A Royale with cheese.
Royale.
Oh, I'll give you every line of Pulp Fiction. My number one movie of all
I could
time.
too, dude. I'm a fucking Quentin Tarantino
Great
super
movie.
fan, man.
Great.
It's my favorite movie of all time. Ultimately, because of it's just the dialogue, bro.
Is it about like orange juice and fake stories?
Yeah, that's it.
I've never seen it.
Hey, Tony, just so you know, cool fact. What's his name? Samuel L. Jackson had badass motherfucker on his lightsaber in Star Wars.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
He is a badass motherfucker because of that one movie. Made him.
He's also been in every movie ever made.
Yeah. He's that guy.
Yeah,
he's the Steve Harvey of movies.
Yeah, dude. He is in quite literally every
Snakes
movie.
on a plane.
Yeah.
Snakes
You name
on
a movie, and you
Snakes
name
on a
any
plane.
movie. Name any movie, and Samuel L. Jackson is in that movie.
Well, you know what? It kind of hurt Samuel L. Jackson fans for a little while because we were used to him being in great movies, and then he became in every movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we were like, oh, Samuel L. Jackson is awesome. He does this.
I've
he
had
does
it with
this.
these motherfucking snakes.
Exactly. And then he
If you
bit
watch
this
it on cable, it
bitch's
says Monday
titty.
through Friday snakes.
Yeah, Monday through Friday.
Monday
Oh
through
yeah,
Friday
that's
snakes.
my favorite. That's my favorite. I like that one better than the real one. Oh yeah. Nah.
Wonderful.
All right. So C3 Panthers podcast. We're here Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. live. Look, there's nothing to talk about. And we still talk for 2 hours, motherfuckers. Over 2 hours, and we still got ice and mugs up. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Call into the show 252-228-5098. We'll play you next week. Not this week. I'm tired of talking to y'all. But I'm ready to ice some people up. Guys, who's ready to go first? You guys want me to do it? I will do it if you need me to.
Let me go first because y'all's are all very well thought out and articulated and sound good.
All right.
Mine's just I didn't think anybody. It's just real quick. Ice up the post office, man. Just the entire. I mean, I know it's my job and this is low hanging fruit, but you know what, dude? I'm not going to go into details, but just ice up the post office, man. It is a dying business that if it wasn't funded by the government would not be in business at all. And I hate saying that's my job, but. Yeah.
Well, because that's not
yeah,
a business, technically, right?
Huh?
Oh, let's not argue with liberals here. Cody.
Fight me, bro. Come at me, dude. Let's go.
I'm ready. I love the post office. I love the post office. Greg, don't shoot us.
I try not to.
So, all right, my ice up pick goes this week to Rob Manfred, the Major League Baseball commissioner, who called the World Series trophy just a piece of metal. As he commented on the Astros cheating scandal, I do, while I'm icing up Ron Manfred, want to give shout out to these guys who made this video that says the internet, and the tweet said the internet always wins, and they reenacted the Astros season to, oh gosh, who was it? It was like Genesis. You remember they do that drum solo?
Oh,
yes. And so I can feel it calling in the air. That song. All right. So anyway, they did this video. Yeah, Phil Collins. And they do this video, and this mug goes, I think it's a slider. And this cat, right when the drums comes in, on the trash can. My point is that this whole Astros cheating scandal has been terrible as all get out. And for the fact that the Major League Baseball commissioner has not leaned towards terribleness, but has leaned to inconsequentialness, is ridiculousness. Ron Manfred, you guys play 162 fucking games. How is that just a piece of metal? That's like it's not. You only let like fucking 8 teams into the playoffs. Shut the fuck up. It's like the hardest fucking thing to win in anything. And you call it, and you're the leader of it, and you call it a piece of metal. No, you suck. The Astros suck. This cheating scandal is bigger than steroids to me. You guys cheated like fucking wrestlers, fucking architecture their shit, and choreograph their shit. Ice up.
Ice up.
Ice up. Whoever wants
well, there's only two of you bitches left. Come on.
Two of you left. You got to split Cody squared here and figure out what you want to do.
Come on, guys. Are you scared?
I'll go. So let me. I have to stop having a million links open on my fucking page. Dude. Okay, I am icing up Dana Schwartz because sometimes if you see problems in the world, it's easy to cast doubt on things that aren't actually the problem. And Dana decided to take a jab at South Park of all things, because it is responsible for all of the angry dudes who don't care, who make jokes at other people's expenses, and all this. Really, just a bunch of drivel, a bunch of crap. And she goes on to say, that she blames the generation of boys who internalize South Park's into their personalities. Like, God, that it's just like, shut up. South Park is one of the best cultural critiques
Hell yeah.
of the past 20 years, dude. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. South Park, from day one to now, puts out these biting critiques on the absurdity of our culture, and they do it better than anyone else ever has. They will never listen. I know a lot of people say The Simpsons, some people say Family Guy, whatever, dude. For me, South Park is the undisputed king of cartoon comedies. It always has, it always will be. So to Dana Schwartz, what a loser. Ice up.
Ice up. So I want to preface my ice up as this is not about your what the policies are and what your beliefs are within the situation. It's about comments that were made about this. So Alabama, they had a bill that was put in place to prohibit a transgender person from competing in sporting events that are female only. Essentially saying that if you're born male, you cannot transition to female and then participate in female events such as wrestling or something crazy, football or whatever. Which I may have my own opinions about, but this is not about that. So in an effort to try to argue why that shouldn't be a bill that actually comes into place, which, by the way, this is about male, born male, transition to female, and then trying to play in female sports. Republican or representative who's a Democrat, John Rogers from Alabama, he said, "My favorite player is a transgender." Then he was not able to name the player, stating that he played for the North Carolina Panthers and was about to be cut
for
by
the North Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and he was about to be cut by the team for being transgender. After the meeting was over, the news followed up with Rogers on his comments where he named the player he was referring to as Cam Newton, a former Auburn quarterback and current quarterback of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, that's actually kind of funny.
According to the article, Rogers said he misspoke and that he believes Cam Newton is gay. So first and foremost,
slightly funny. He said, "I saw him dressed as a woman after a press conference." Slightly funny.
So it's it's funny because I think it's a perfect illustration of an old guy, right? That's what I'm going to go straight ages with this. There are these guys in the world that just do not think about things before they speak, right?
Right.
I see it, so it must be true. And so all of these, it's just hilarious when you're going to sit there and call somebody transgender, and that the Panthers are cutting him because he's transgender, and that if this law, basically trying to use Cam Newton as a reason why this law should not be passed. Dude is a guy who plays in a guy sport. Like, it's not like he's playing in a female sport or anything along those lines. It's absolutely hysterical. Once again, the policies themselves are not what I want to talk about. That's a whole bag of worms that I'm not ready to get into on this podcast. We're trying to keep this something simple and not so deep. But for that representative, that Democratic representative, I have to say, ice up, son, ice up.
I would say though that Cam Newton fucking running your track meet would bust your daughter's ass though.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if he turns out to do that, he would fuck your daughter up, yo. I'm gonna tell you that. He was outshot put her. Anyway, all right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. My name's Tony Dunn. We're here every Tuesday night. We've chopped up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We refuse to go less than 2 hours. And tonight, we went 2 hours and 15 minutes. Even when two of the hosts didn't even want to fucking barely talk because we feel like shit. Anyway, my name's Tony Dunn, at @cat_chronicles. And my man Cody Lashney here every week. Cody, how can they hit you up?
At Cody Lack, CODY LAC. Brand new mock draft on Draft Tech tomorrow with the comments for the Carolina Panthers in the first and second round. Please keep checking that out every Wednesday, putting a lot of work into them. And so one last thing, what CK was saying last time, our better know a potential Panthers draft pick. We're still going to be doing that, but now these are going to be video segments. So we are going to upload standalone videos previewing these players. CK and I are going to be working on that coming up here soon. We don't know exactly when they're going to drop, but they are coming, rest assured. And that's it, man. That's it for me tonight.
All right, CK, tell them how they can hit you up.
You can hit me up on Twitter at CodizzleAllen. Still need more followers, so I'm hungry for it. You guys help me out.
He's thirsty. He's thirsty, bitches.
Thirsty for him, and all I have to say is, Autobots assemble.
There you go.
Well done. And Greg, how can they hit you up?
Oh man, you can find me at the Bad Daddy 52 on Twitter, and if you want to talk to me in another kind of way, do at SCS Podcast 1 on Twitter. Check out my other show. It's Super Civil Servants Podcast. We're talking about Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 1 that drops this Friday. Come check us out. And I think me and Tony just started something in the chat where we're going to do a power hour.
Yeah, we have to. I'm gonna have to take on a different name though. My name is Donny Ton. Donny Ton.
There you go. That'll work. But yeah, man, let's do it on the draft. Let's figure something out. Do a power hour. That'd be a fun show.
Oh gosh.
But it'd be a fun show.
I just read Cody's comment. Oh my goodness, Cody dropping fucking nuclear bombs. All right,
I believe that, by the way.
Might be true.
It has done it before on other platforms.
Oh my
Even impersonating a woman, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh, all right. C3 Panthers podcast will be here next week. Thank you guys.
Yes, sir.